Good evening.
Okay,
Well, hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Okay.
Yippers.
Cool beans.
So, Barry is with us.
Yep.
Okay, it's almost like we have spring around here now.
Yeah, it's
Really?
nice. It's supposed to get up
Yeah.
to 60 tomorrow.
Oh, really?
hmm
Okay.
Yeah, I woke up this morning and there's big fluffy snowflakes falling,
Oh, yeah.
and we got, I don't know, 6 inches, I guess.
We didn't get near that much. We had the same thing, the fluffy snowflakes, but I think we probably got 2 inches at the most, and and it's all gone now, by the way.
hmm
So you are working from home today or what?
Yes. Yeah, I've been working from home now for psh, pretty much all of a couple of months.
Oh, so this is part of the transition from the old
Mhm.
building to the new building?
Yep. Yeah, I'll probably only go to the new building a couple of times total. That's just for like Christmas get-togethers and silly
Hmm.
crap like that.
So what are they doing with the old building? Are they tearing it down or what?
No, Siemens doesn't own it. They were just leasing it. It was SDRC, Structural Dynamics Research Corporation, and apparently they had been leasing it also. So now I have no idea what they're going to do with it.
That's a big building.
That's a huge building. It's like 680,000 square feet.
Yeah, that's for an office building that's large for
Just
uh
just the
for
data center was 80,000 square feet.
so they're replacing that with a new building up uh around Mason someplace?
Um, so the data center we already shipped to Auburn Hills, Michigan, and the people are going to get office space in Mason. Yeah, sorry, thought I heard the dog.
Does he do scratch on the door when he wants
Yep.
to come in? So the people are going to Mason and the data center is going to Michigan.
Yes.
Okay.
We're
Where,
leasing space from Altair, who is now a partner slash subsidiary.
so I'm not sure where that is in Michigan.
About 20, 25 miles north of Detroit.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot
Okay.
of data centers that are opening up near the Canadian border.
That's interesting.
No, it's good weather. Makes it a lot easier to cool them.
Oh, so the cold weather takes care of the cooling problem.
To
Hmm.
a great extent. I suspect they'll probably get with the highway departments and say, anytime it snows and you scrape snow, you can put it right here. Give us a big pile of ice.
That's interesting. Hmm. Well, the obvious question is, why don't they move it up to Hudson Bay?
I mean, they're as close as they can get and still stay in the US. Right now, Canada's not real happy with us, so they're not
Yeah,
going to let us
well,
build anything there.
I think,
Only a few pieces.
would you say, Barry?
I said only a few pieces of Canada. There's like 4 or 5 provinces want to join America. They threw the governor of the one in jail for even considering it. He was going to meet Trump, oh, like 4 months ago, and they threw him in jail for treason.
For Canadian treason.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, that's interesting. Well, they
uh,
could combine that with Greenland and make it one complete.
yeah. There's, I don't know, it was like 4 or 5 provinces that they have been completely ignored, and they're paying taxes and not receiving a dime back from the Canadian government.
Oh,
Even
I
the
see. Okay.
and then even the which this is something I learned too that's really interesting is like 90% of Canada is still owned by the Indians. And
By Indians, I'm assume you mean native.
yeah, so the native Indians actually still own the property and the treaties that they made with the crown. Um, they're supposed to inform them of anything and of mineral rights and things they wish to do with the property. And I
Uh-huh.
guess Trudeau just shrugged all that off and completely have blown them off. And so they have filed lawsuits with England uh, to take back their property, which is 90% of the land. So,
Okay.
which I did not was not aware that Canadian crown was England.
Very interesting.
I watched a hearing like when Trudeau, or well, not Trudeau, whoever the new guy is, was in Devros. Like
Yeah.
4 Indian tribe chiefs filed suit with England, um, demanding their rights and their land back for treaty violation.
That is very strange.
Yeah, well, that's the one chief even said is like part of their treaty that's been standing for like 100 and some years, or 175 years, is that they were always notified of any desires or requests for land development and this and that, and they've just been completely shut out of it for like I don't know, the last 15 or 20 years.
Well, there's some interesting, fairly massive mineral deposits in various parts of Canada.
Yeah. Well, and that's what
There's,
they're saying is like, so they're putting all this money in escrow for the Indian tribes because they have such a right to all the property or the mineral rights, but it's never been given to them either. So
hmm.
it was a real interesting hearing. I'd never knew anything like that was even going on.
Now this hearing was in Canada or in
Yeah,
England?
it was a Canadian like hearing, I guess, while the guy was over in Devros. Um, and that they were filing charges with the crown because there's like the intermediary government, which is the China, or Canadian government, sits between the Indian tribes and the crown. And I was like, I looked it up on Google. I had no idea that how Canada was actually set up. But yeah, the Indian tribes still technically own like 90% of the territories, and it's like Canada leases the land from them on some level or some what I say it was really weird. Um, but yeah, they still own like territorial property rights to most of their provinces, and they're you know have been completely cut out of the equation, and they're demanding their land rights to revoke the treaty. And the way some of them were talking, they're ready to take it back by force because, like I said, there's like the 4 or 5 provinces on the west of Quebec or whatever haven't gotten a dime. Um, and they're just fed up with all the political crap that's been going on up there. It's
Interesting. So basically, the east end of Canada is getting all the goodies, and the
yeah,
west end of Canada
uh,
is,
well the whole what the east uh, province, Quebec or whatever, and Vancouver are the only ones who are getting any of the federal tax money, I guess.
oh, okay.
But they're taxing them into the ground, because their taxes up there are like 60% or something. The way they were talking, I was like, that's nuts.
Yeah, but they get a lot for that.
If you're in one of those two provinces,
Well, strange times.
yep. Well, I was going to say that the governors, there were two of them, were talking about it. When Trump offered something like that, and as I say, they threw the one in jail almost immediately for even considering coming to DC. So, but there's like three of them looking to secede or filed to secede from Canada. A lot of crazy stuff going on all over the world.
Well, I was, I was amused at the arrest of Randy Andy there. At one point, originally, I guess he was a prince, and now he's a jailbird.
Only it could happen to more of them.
Well,
Yeah, I have no sympathy for the uh, British Crown, but I mean he apparently got himself in hot water for diddling teenagers, female teenagers, to the best of my knowledge. So, Mike, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I don't have my hearing aids in right now, so I couldn't tell what you said my name.
Oh, okay.
I turned the volume up.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. What is that, an 8-inch mirror, 6-inch mirror? Can't see the graduations on the,
I think it's probably 5.5 or 6.
oh, so it's not the size of the tube itself.
It's nearly the size of the tube itself. I have not disassembled it, so I don't know for sure.
Where did
It
it come from?
um, it came from the other bedroom.
Okay. But where did you get it? Where
It
did you?
reminds me of the two guys that were taking a hot air balloon ride, and the tether broke, and they started drifting over. And one guy says, "I don't know anything about this, but looks to me like we're going to run into those high voltage electrical wires." And the other guy says, "Yeah." So they start tugging on the and they go up into the clouds and they go over the high tension lines. But eventually they start coming down, and the one guy says, "Do you recognize anything?" He says, "I don't have the slightest idea where we are." He says, "But there's a guy on a tractor there. And if we don't do anything at all, I think we're going to come down and just float over the top of him." And so they do. And they get over the top and they yell, "Hey!" And the guy looks right. Goes, "Hey!" He looks up and just, "Where are we?" He says, "You're about 50 feet above me in a hot air balloon." The one guy turns to the other and says, "Had to be a lawyer." His answer was precise, accurate, and totally worthless. So the other bedroom was a lawyer answer. Um, actually, I picked it up several years ago, and it has an equatorial mount, and we've used it just a couple times, and that's why it was offered up, and Steve took it.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's about 3 times as much mirror as mine, maybe more.
looking at the screen though, Steve hasn't took it yet.
The default delivery is a week from today at Westchester. I didn't have any other inquiries about it.
No, that's a really nice telescope.
I thought it was. It's got some scrapes on it from uh, previous life.
The other room.
So did you get it new or did you get it as
The people
already?
across the street put it out for the trash, and
Oh, really?
that's about 5 or 6 years ago. And I went over and picked it up and brought it home. And best I could tell, they put the eyepiece in wrong. So uh, I don't know how they could have done it, but they had that in there backwards, upside down, something. It was one of those things where I didn't know how they could have done it wrong, but they did. Uh,
Is that an upright prism?
yes,
Oh, nice. I always wanted one of those because I still always go the wrong direction first.
with this equatorial mount on there, once you get it set up, it's got a worm drive and a cable, so you can sit there and turn it. Once you know which direction you're turning it, you don't ever have to do anything again. You can have it follow along exactly right.
Yeah, one would think so. And yet, evidence suggests that I always turn right when I should have turned left.
Hmm. So the original owner is your across the street neighbor then, is that right?
It was, yes.
Okay.
They have. We've gone through several neighbors since then. I don't. I don't think it's us. It could be, but people around the neighborhood all move out, and I stay here.
Well, it's a mobile society.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sure it had nothing to do with the lathe. Yeah, I thought it was funny. So what's the game plan, gentlemen?
I think this is it.
You never can tell. So is this one of the meetings where we have a strange schedule? Or there's one where we start late and end early or something like that, but
That's the next one, I believe.
Yeah, I agree.
and that's in person or that's it's got to be in person, right? Because
Yeah.
if
Yes.
if it's not in person, we can start and stop whenever we want to.
Yeah.
So, so what's your plan for the telescope there, Steve?
I got a bunch of grandkids. We'll go look at the moon. I think I think Saturn should be pretty bright in about 3 months. So hopefully
Okay.
it'll be nice and warm.
My recollection is that I could see the rings on Saturn with this scope, and I could also see the Jovian satellites.
Mhm.
Well, really?
Yeah, I
Oh,
would expect that to be able to see the rings pretty well.
Well,
I've got a 3-inch scope and I can see the rings with it.
um,
okay.
my my recollection, my visual recollection is that I could see one solid band, but I could not see distinctly the individual bands.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that'll be a nice demo lab, whatever you want to call it, for your grandkids there. How old are they on average?
Uh, 7.
Oh, great.
Okay. Okay. So how many do you have, Steve?
1, 2, 3, 6. 6, and hopefully another one on the way.
Well, you're very fortunate. Unfortunately, I am without grandkids, and actually, I have one step granddaughter, and that's it. My two biological daughters have one of them elected not to have children, and the other one, unfortunately, was unable to. Basically, after three IVFs, she they gave up.
Mm,
I don't know if you're familiar with IVFs, but they're pretty expensive.
yeah.
At the time, she was working for a company that covered them, covered IVFs in, or most of IVFs, most of the cost of IVFs. But if it had been straight out of pockets, they're around 20K a pop. And that's not the told story. It's also a lot of medical manipulation is the way I would describe it. So,
As I understand it, the people who are undergoing that feel like their hormone levels and emotions are being battered around like a volleyball.
well, that, and there's also a lot of physical stuff goes on with the mother, potential mother. And they did two here in the Cincinnati area, and then since they didn't work, they went to a special expert guaranteed thing that involved my daughter moving to someplace in New Jersey, some close to some clinic in New Jersey, and they were I don't know for several months she was undergoing and just didn't click. So after three, they said, I'm not going. Part of it involved in injections um, several times a day. And she was kind of like a pincushion for a while. But I mean, it works for some people, but it didn't work for her. So whatever happened with the house, Steve?
The one with the antenna,
Yeah.
um, they're getting it. They're just getting all the money in line now. Still got the antenna.
So did your son convince the girlfriend that it was a really valuable asset to
I
the?
I doubt that. And it's weird because the antenna is below the roof line, um,
The
just
peak,
barely.
the peak or the uh, gutters.
The peak. And I mean, it wouldn't matter much from where it's sitting. Dayton is north of the house and Cincinnati is south, and it's on the west side of the house. So it really doesn't matter much. But yeah, so
Did it have an antenna on the top of it? I couldn't see from the picture whether there was
yes,
an.
yeah. But it wasn't in very good shape.
So the only value would be the tower.
Yeah, that's why I said if anybody wants it, they're more than welcome to it.
I have a mast mounted to the masonry chimney. I'm up about 36 or 37 feet above ground. So my antenna does a pretty decent job both for Dayton and Cincinnati. The last upgrade to a different TV, apparently they have improved the tuner because we're getting uh, Kentucky stations, which we never got before, even with a inline amplifier. So I guess it's a march of progress in terms of tuners.
So you have a tower next to your house, Mike, or what?
It's bolted to the masonry chimney. I put it up a couple of years ago. Uh, there's a 4-inch pipe at the bottom, and then that's about 10 or 12 feet tall in a concrete base. And then uh, the tubing that goes up to the rotor is 2 by 2 square. and then above the rotor is about 1 inch diameter for that portion of the mast.
Is it fairly stable in windy weather or?
It doesn't. The antenna itself gets blown around, so I have to constantly go down into the basement and tweak the motor to get it pointed in the right direction. And all the readings are off on the display of the rotor controller. So I used to be able to say, okay, 172 degrees is this station, 178 is this. But the display now doesn't correspond to anything as far as I can tell. So all I know is if it's pointed more west than it is east, I rotate it counterclockwise and just guess, watch the TV until it comes in clearly. Not a very sophisticated way of doing it.
Better than a big rope and a pair of pulleys, one in the house and one on the mast.
Well, you ask about the stability, Art. The rear reflectors on the antenna have the wind will catch those and it will unlatch them and they will fold in. And if I get on the roof and I get a long enough pole to reach up to tap the reflectors, it's all I can do to hold it upright and reach up and tap them. And I'm fortunate that I can stand on the roof and squeeze the snot out of the masonry chimney because I don't want to have that big pole either take me off the roof or go down and damage the neighbor's roof. But I have to do that probably about every 4 or 5 months. The wind will catch it just wrong. We don't have cable, so all of our TV is through the internet, streaming, or over the air.
I've got a small antenna in the attic, and I get 73 channels, trying to convince the kid to just put an antenna up in his attic. But mine isn't on a rotor or anything, and I get Dayton, I get Kentucky, I get Cincinnati. One point I was able to get something out of Louisville. Yeah,
Really? That's impressive.
I used to have an attic antenna with a rotor. I could just barely rotate it completely around, but the aluminum siding on the house pretty effectively cut down the effectiveness of that. So I
mine's
went,
all vinyl.
yeah, we're aluminum. When our house caught on fire, we had to replace the one end of the house. We continued with the aluminum.
Job I had many, many years ago was doing phone sales in Kansas City. And we were trying to, when I started, they were selling tickets to the Shrine Circus, and that was okay. And at some point, they switched to selling siding.
Okay.
And I sold some woman vinyl siding. I got my commission check. And 3 months later, we were selling aluminum siding. And I sold that same woman aluminum siding, citing that when vinyl siding burns, it gives off poisonous gases and stuff. And I got that commission check, and that's when I stopped with phone sales. That was just crazy.
I didn't realize that you lived in Kansas City for a while. That's where I grew up.
Yeah,
Whereabouts did you live?
Olathe.
Oh, okay.
Um, for a while, I was living in downtown Kansas City. That was interesting. And actually, that's when I worked there. Yeah, I used to work for Hallmark out there.
Okay.
And years before that, actually, the reason I got the job at Hallmark was because years before that, I had been working for Mendelssohn's here in Dayton, and I went out to Hallmark to pick up a bunch of their old computers. It was like 750 IBM ATs with 30 megabyte spinning hard drives. Um, and when I went in to interview years after that, I was talking about that, and one of the people there remembered me. And I think that was instrumental in me getting that job. I much preferred working at Hallmark over working phone sales.
When I first came to Middletown, I mentioned that I had been in Kansas City growing up there. And the guy says, "Oh yeah, I stopped stopped off the interstate into downtown Kansas City in the middle of the night." And he said, "There was nobody down there." He said, "You could have fired off a cannon and it wouldn't have hit anybody. And on top of that, nobody would have heard it." That's about right. Downtown Kansas City after dusk is uh, ghost town. There's nothing down there.
Sounds like Cincinnati.
Um, I guess so. I'm one of the ghosts.
Yep, nobody else goes there either. Cincinnati is weirdly empty after 8 o'clock. I walked from Covington to Fairfield once, and I think I saw like 5 people on the entire walk.
Wow.
So anybody got any electronics projects they're playing with?
Nope.
I just wiped and reloaded my Nook, added some memory and quadrupled the drive and added in a spinning drive. So it now has a terabyte of NVMe and 2 terabytes of spinning storage as a backup.
I've been staring at that board you sent me. It arrived Monday,
Ah,
and I'm
cool
trying
beans.
to figure out which way I want to go now. I have finished fixing the cluster that is called my network, to back to functional after fixing the problems with the ESXi server. Um, how'd the TuneAs do, or the Jellyfin?
Oh, it was working fine. Thank you. I I think we watched like one movie and that was about it.
I haven't seen anybody log into it there for a few days, but then it was like I broke everything really, really well, and I haven't put it back on yet. But I just managed to fix that Monday, I think. I just haven't made a rule for it yet. But yeah, so neat thing. I don't know what caused it. I know Windows update, somewhere between Windows update and an update for my firewall, my ESXi server broke, and which made no sense because it had nothing to do with it. But the only thing I can think is either the ESXi server got popped or um, there's some kind of emergency failover system because I didn't have a cord hooked up to the management port. But at some point in the time over the last year, um, the management port was joined to the virtual switch port for the VMs. So that's
Okay.
why I could only talk to the management port when the firewall was down because it deals out DHCP on that port. Um, and then I could only, get to the internet when the firewall's up. So, but then I tossed a box on the management network and it was pulling IP addresses from the VM network. And I thought, man, that doesn't make any sense at all. So when I finally did hook up a monitor and get back into it and started diagnosing and was able to log back into ESXi, I found that it was joined to that virtual switch somehow. So, but you can't remove the management port from a virtual switch. You have to make a new switch and roll a new virtual switch for all the other stuff, which doing that broke the network IDs in the firewall by reversing them because I didn't smoke the WAN ports and redo the WAN ports. So the WAN port became the LAN port, the LAN port became the WAN port, which broke the firewall, which in turn broke DNS, which fixing that smoked the DNS rules. Nice cascade failure across a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that sounds like just a fun weekend.
Oh yeah. Well, then I was dumb enough to go ahead and update the firewall. New version of OpenSense smokes the old version of the rules and rolls a new rules folder. Um, yeah, the migration tool, instead of migrating from the old version, it just smoked all the legacy rules. So then I had to build all brand new rules in the new rule tool, not the old rule tool, which I didn't know that was even a thing until Sunday or Monday morning. I don't know which, but anyhow, it's been an entertaining weekend. Not what I planned to spend it on.
Yeah, it never is. I've been playing with firewalls and routers myself, meh, mostly for the upcoming flood thing. That's also why I reloaded the Nook.
Which firewalls are you using?
I'm using OpenWRT
Hmm,
on a Cootie TR3000 at the moment.
gotcha.
And I've also, I, I pretty much always do firewalls on physical hardware. Um, x86 is nice, but it isn't nearly as quick as dedicated hardware.
Yeah. Well, what my old box is a 7020 Dell 6 gen i7. Never had any real issues with it, but I don't know. Not like I have super fast internet out here anyway.
I thought you had fiber now.
I do, but it's still only like 800 meg or something. So
That's
it
pretty darn quick.
doesn't keep up with the NIC port. And I can't manage to do anything that utilizes that kind of speed out here most of the time anyway. There's only a handful of services anywhere that let you download at that kind of speed.
Yeah, I remember when fiber first came out, or Zoomtown for that matter, and nobody was limiting downloads. Missed that time.
Oh yeah. Plus, did college on campus.
Nice.
Yeah. For a quarter. That was fun. Of course, you don't get any sleep when you live in campus. Yeah, I was trying to figure out what case to put it in to hold all the drives, and uh, I'd put the moved to my backup 720 into the one of the cases you gave me, but none of the wiring matches is compatible with that Dell because of the stupid proprietary plug crap.
Uh,
So I was just looking at that a few minutes ago about swapping that ITX board into it. So I might do that tomorrow. Pull the drives out of my old media server and put them in there and get it all set up.
See if I can find something real quick.
Did you guys see the prices of RAM today?
No.
My buddy that's been or they demoted him, and then now they're wanting him to rebuild his support lab that he's been asking for $50,000 for 5 years to upgrade because it's like 10 years old or better. And now that they've demoted him, they want him to replace his entire lab with new hardware. And he sent me a quote for the RAM for one of the two machines, $40,000 just for the RAM now.
Damn.
Because Dell's charging $7,000 per 64 gig chip.
Is it a server?
Yeah.
I have a lot of RAM. Thank you, Steve. I have a lot of RAM if you need some RAM. A lot of the ECC server RAM.
Yeah, is it DDR5 or was it RDRAM?
No, it's DDR4.
Yeah. Well, that's what he's cracking up at is like because all the new stuff has just gone stupid. I I joked with him when we built these new computers. He built one and I built one like a day or two after, and he got the RAM for 64 gigs of RAM for $200. I got 32 gigs of RAM for $200, and I don't know, it was like $700 or something within a week or so after that for 64 gigs of RAM. I was looking up at 192 gigs of ECC RAM was $600 then. And I looked it up yesterday. Now that's $11,000.
Wow.
Jesus.
So I was like, shit, should have bought all those I could afford to bought. I'd be up $1 million.
Oh, just because the price is high doesn't mean everybody's really trying to buy it.
Well, there is that, but that's to say, even if I didn't get that kind of price out of it, it'd been more than $600 for anybody that had to buy. That's a pretty slick little case.
This one's nice. There's also one that I was looking for that uses Dell
Trays.
hot swap trays.
I had that pulled up a little while ago from like last week or something. But then you need to buy all the connectors for the back plane.
Um, I've got those.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I got 10 of them, I think 10, maybe 12 for like $6. Um,
Yeah, here's the video that came out a few days ago. It's got a really nice little rack that holds 24 bays with Raspberry Pis. Put in the chat.
uh, I lost the chat. There we go.
But yeah, it's like I didn't never
Just a quick
dreamed it.
note for everybody. I did post some stuff in the chat. It's a little off topic, but it's there.
Damn, nice. So each Pi is connected to what, 4 or 5 drives?
6 drives.
Ah,
He buys 4 of those NVMe to 6 SATA port PCI adapters and wires them into each Pi. So there's 6 drives for each Pi, and then there's 4 Pis. And then was running. He walks through it all, but I never even thought to use about it, being able to 3D print, a cage to, and then use, like commercial hot swap drive bays to mount into them. I was like, dude, that's pretty slick.
I can probably find you some of those drive bays if you want. I don't know about that many.
Well, and I was looking at that board that you showed me, and I thought I thought they'd hold those Perca cards, but the Perca cards are PCI 2, and what's on the board's PCI 3, so they're not compatible. So, but not a big deal. There's still 8 SATA drives is quite a bit, and that whole lot lower power on that motherboard than a normal one of these Dell Precisions. I threw it in there, and it's like a comparison on AI, and it's like, yeah, it's like where the one machine's great for virtual machines, like this one's only good for a NAS or a media server, but then it's like it's only 15 watts instead of like 480.
This is what Barry's talking about. It's got 8 SATA ports, spot for a PCIe card, dual 2.5 gig Ethernet. There's and dual NVMEs.
Yeah.
Uh,
I just realized, or earlier today, I realized that the dual NVDAs, and I said I could put one of those other 6-port cards in there. So technically, I do 12 or
yeah.
18 SATA drives.
How many SATA drives do you have?
A lot, but the big ones, I don't have very many. I've got That's a really good question, but the one box that was holding the media server you were on the other day only has 4 in it, but they're like 218s and 216s. It gets a little dicey after that, which ones are SATA and which ones are SAS, because I never really kept a good track that what's in the other boxes. But I've got a lot of 4s and a lot of 3s. Um, there's another set of 16s in the other box. I got the 18, but I know that one's a SAS because that's in the 7910. And then that came with a whole set of 4 terabytes of SAS. So there's 4 of those. That's what gets tricky now. Is like if I do just a straight up SATA box, I, which is probably the easiest thing at this point, and then put all the SAS in the 7910 or something, maybe as a backup. Or at least the big ones. I don't know.
So how much storage can you attach to at one time? Just out of curiosity, how many terabytes?
Um, if I was to hook it all up and bring it online on a box, I've probably got around over 100 terabytes. Or
Damn.
probably way more than that actually, because there's 50 just in the 5 externals. Um, they're like 48 something. Wow. I have a lot of drives. A lot of them are full. That's the sad thing. I I was joking with somebody the other day. It's like what I really need is like 100 terabytes of clean RAID that I can just move everything onto it, sort it, and then back it up and clone it because it's a mess. But as that guy's video with the 10 or that 24 thingy, I think he said it does like 380 terabytes. Of course, you got to buy the drives. He didn't buy the drives, but the that TrueNAS box has just about 50 in it by itself, I think. But the one drive's completely blank still, and the other one doesn't have very much on it. I just put some virtual machines on. So, but the 118 is completely full and the 116 is completely full, and then the other one's about half full. I don't even have half the stuff copied over to it. So, and I think it's going to run out before I fill it or finish trying to consolidate everything.
I'm looking at drive prices right now. Hmm.
Yeah, that's not pretty.
I mean, they're not
They're
too
not
bad.
horrible.
They're not as
Spinners
bad
aren't,
as RAM.
yeah. The spinners aren't
That,
too
that's
bad.
setting the bar pretty high.
The the SS or the NVMe stuff's gotten stupid. I
Yeah.
mean, you could buy a 4 terabyte Gen 5 like into November for $300. Now they're like 1,600. Gen 4 is a little bit cheaper, but that's my problem too. A year ago, all the hard drive prices were like half of what they were,
Hmm.
and it's been creeping and creeping up like every month, like $10.
So if you were starting fresh, went with RAID 6 and 4 terabyte drives, you're looking at $800 and 24 terabytes of online storage. But if you double that, double the cost,
Yeah,
huh, could do 12 terabyte drives. Total storage would be what? Available 72 terabytes, all spinning at the same time. That'd be your available storage with RAID 6.
Hey, Steve, I'm trying to get in there again. on my phone.
Okay. Sorry. There you go. Sorry. I had a web page up and those don't pop up over the top.
Okay.
Yeah, take us to his palette of.
Alado RAM.
Maybe.
Now, I'm going to ask this question just in general I like to think about things from various perspectives. How many sets of Epstein files will fit on Barry's computer?
Oh, it could all fit. Oh, the text files anyway. I don't know about the video files.
You don't want to be attached to those anyway.
I don't. But I'm just saying they're up there.
Well,
There was somebody that showed that the other day. Is like all the stuff that comes back unaccessible is I forgot what you searched for, but or like some kind one of the web errors or like 404 or 405 or something error when you query against it. But if you replace the PDF with MP4, it shows you the videos. Let's say
Solid state drives. There's a couple servers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
those 2.5.
It is
Yes.
hard to find big 2.5-inch drives.
I find that a lot
There's a
of
couple
them
more servers back there.
don't do the 3.5 anymore. And then the 2.5 cost so much more.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got a bunch of stuff that has, I mean, they're still shipping with 300 meg, I'm sorry, 300 gig, 2.5-inch drives.
Yeah.
It's like, bah, humbug.
Well, that's the spinners never really got big for 2.5. If I don't even know if the spinners really go much past 2 gig or 2 terabyte.
Oh, I've
Um,
got some fives.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'll say that's probably where they cap out at, and they're probably like $1,000 a pop or something, aren't they?
Actually, that's when I shucked out of a Western Digital portable drive. It was like $100 at Walmart.
Oh yeah, I was just say the enterprise stuff is. I
Oh
never
no,
saw
it's
them
not
about big,
enterprise.
but it's like yeah, those little backpack ones. I guess do get up to 5. There's a 6 terabyte now at Micro Center, but it's like $300.
How?
Or pretty close to it. It's mind-boggling because that stuff was only like $100 a year ago.
So you can still pick up the Seagate 5 terabyte externals for $150, which honestly isn't that bad.
Come down a bit because I was in there when I built my computer. They were about 200, 185, something, 189, something like that.
Yeah, and the LaCie rugged 5Ts are 170.
Those are nice drives. I've got 3 Lucasi drives. I've never had an issue with them. That's what my old Media Vault runs off of, one of those externals, but it's a 8 terabyte, three and
Hmm,
a half inch.
be right back.
So you trying to open an old school data center there, Ray?
No, I was rebuilding some computers and I ran into all these hard drives. I think I paid less than $4 each for 500 gigabyte hard drives,
Yeah.
and you know, just to get something up and running and they're workable without. And this was right before solid state drives were really mainstream, and NVMe's hadn't caught on yet. And I bought a skid load of these other drives and or these other computers. So I've got all these Dell. They're really nice, actually. Um, Small form factor Dells here,
Yep.
and they're Intel i5s, and we put 16 or 32 gig RAM in them, and solid state drive, and they work
Oh yeah,
damn
they're
good.
tanks.
Yeah.
They're some of the best machines I've ever touched, and it's like it blows my mind that I mean, because I got a pile almost as bad as you do, and then
Oh,
I get
there's
Dell Precisions, and like
six,
nobody
seven.
wants
There's
them.
10 right there. There's another 10 right there, and another zoom. There's another 70 of them right there.
Yeah.
That
So there's a bunch. And
APC UPS that you've got sitting over with the smaller Dells, that is probably the best UPS I've ever owned.
mm,
It's on the
oh,
floor to your, well, I'm assuming your left. Oh, yeah, there's one too.
there. Maybe that's one of them.
Yep, you've got two of
Um,
those at least. If you put a
mm,
lithium ion,
oh, right there.
yep, put one of the LIFE batteries in there, it's like $30. It lasts way longer than lead acid, and your runtime goes from 40 minutes to closer to 2 hours.
That's the same thing.
Looks like
Excess
it. Yep.
method. So we got that. I thought you had picked up on other ones that were here. Um, Here's two rack mount UPSs, and there's, oh my god, these giant
Tell me about
things.
those switches.
There they are. Yeah,
Oh,
there's
yeah. That's
one,
the
two, three.
Backups Pro.
Yeah, those things are massive.
Those have got $150 worth of batteries in them that you really need to get rid of.
Maybe. Yeah. So. But why do you say get rid of the batteries?
Because at this point they're almost certainly dead and worthless. And before too long, they'll start to expand, and then you need a hammer to get them out.
True. Um, Basically, somebody gave them to me, and I
Well,
can take them to O'Reilly's and get $10 per battery if
Yep.
I take them there like 5 per month. Get $10 per battery out of them. So
yeah, a lot
I'm
of
just too
places
lazy to
won't
do it.
take those anymore.
Uh, well, the reason for taking those over to O'Reilly's is because they do take them,
Yeah.
and they're just
Well, that's what.
recycling them.
Yeah. Well, as I say, I tried to. I talked to one of the places the other day about that because O'Reilly's mentioned that they take them, and I took some up there. But then I was like, uh, trying to figure out where to get rid of my hybrid batteries from the Prius that are bad, and like nobody will touch them. They suggested going up and talking to Toyota. I just never have stopped at them yet.
This is my little bitty Genmitsu CNC mill project. It's a little
Nice.
bitty thing. It's a little bitty thing. Um, I broke out the ShopBot desktop version last Monday or something. So here's the ShopBot CNC desktop 2418. And And yes, I used one of my little Dells to run it. Works amazing. So, and we were watching videos, so I went ahead and put a sound bar on it. But,
So between what machines are you going to do your party venue?
oh, Carol does the whole party venue. I don't deal with that thing at all. I just make sure that the building is working correctly. So I had to make sure that like all the cameras are working and the internet over there works and alarm system. So whenever Carol wants something like that dealt with, that's what I go do. That or she's like, "Hey Ray, go over there and change all the trash bags and trash cans and haul all the trash back to our building." So that's what I do. I don't. I I don't go mop the floors, and I don't talk to customers that much. Um, we contracted a professional service to write the website, and Carol's like, "Ray, come over here and approve all this stuff." I'm like, "I don't need to approve any of it. It just, I mean, if it looks good, it looks good. Do whatever." So, um, and we're having the venue over at the 1300 Hook Drive because that building is empty right now, and Carol, she cleaned it up really good. We repainted walls, we added more office tiles in the storage room, and we cleaned up the storage room. Repainted, trim, and everything. And now it's more like a food prep room, and it looks really nice, better lighting and everything. In the back of the building, it's probably like just under 4,000 square feet. And we're probably going to epoxy the floors back there just because, like, everybody's having a kid's birthday party. They want to bring a blow up inflatable jungle gym castle thing, whatever. And they always want to put it inside the building because they never know what the weather is going to be like outside.
Yep.
And if it was cold, so like during the snow the past month, we've probably had 4 people in there that brought their own bouncy castle and they put it up inside the building, and they set it up the day before or that morning, and they love it because the kids aren't cold and the kids aren't wet, and they don't have to worry about who's driving around outside or how much space, or they just walk through a door and the kids are inside the building playing around. So we used to have all this artificial grass turf stuff, and I kind of wish we still had it because it makes for a nice indoor playground. And, but no, don't have it no more.
Can always get it again.
Yeah, I thought about it. It's kind of easy to put it down, easy to take it up, put it somewhere else. But so, I'm sure you guys remember the laser machines. Yeah, these things.
Yep.
Mhm.
So how much room do you have over at the journal building?
I have lots and lots and lots of room.
Okay.
I could probably put like this trailer. I could probably park 4 trailers in there with no problem inside. Plus, because it takes a bit to get trailers inside the building, but I can take them down the ramp and into another area. As far as crates and stuff, man, I could probably fit more crates than this in my journal building. Tooling, yeah, a lot of that fun stuff too. Here's a
Okay.
project I worked on last week. I bought this DeWalt saw from Marketplace for $30, and
Damn.
it's a good deal.
Yeah.
Uh, it it had the end of it, the cord was broken off, and they said it doesn't work. So that was their things like, oh well, maybe that's the only thing wrong, and I know more better than that. Um, so yeah, it was the cord, and so I bought it. It's not corroded, has not been sitting underwater, hasn't been sitting in the rain. It's just been used, and whoever used it, they took care of it decently. When I got it, there was no blade, and one of these screws up here was broken off. So it tells me that they dug into the housing trying to find out what was wrong. And so I brought me and my son here to the shop, and we took the whole casing off, nothing wrong, checked all the wiring, nothing wrong. We took the whole side of it off. Come to find out, down in here, there's brushes, but there's this metal removable housing. It's the brush holder assembly. And the brush holder is this complex shaped metal bracket. And they're like $20 each for the front housing, or the front brush holder and the back brush holder. Each are $20. But I finally found it. That metal bracket was broken, and the metal bracket is structural and electrical. And I just soldered it all back together, made sure it was the right shape, right length, and everything. Pressed it back in, and it works. So it cost me $2.99 for the connector end, and maybe 50 cents for the solder, and some intelligence for where to find how to fix it. But it's a DeWalt 705, and I'm
What,
good with it.
what's the blade diameter?
So that was another tricky one. So this is a 12-inch blade, and it did not come with a blade. But I had some blades in my drawer, a bunch of old ones, and then I had some new ones. So when you look it up online, the spec on this says that this is a 12-inch saw with a 5/8 arbor. But when you buy it, it comes with an arbor adapter. So it's like a little ring sleeve that you put on it. I'll show you in a minute. But nobody sells a 12-inch blade with a 5/8 adapter or 5/8 arbor. Nobody sells. When I went to a couple different stores, looked up online, nobody sells a 12-inch with a 5/8 arbor.
That's
And I
how they
think it's
make you
just
buy the new one.
so they want you to buy the new saw, I guess.
Yep.
Well, I had this saw already, or the blade, and I've got a 32 tooth blade and a couple others, but they're all 1-inch arbors. And so what I did was I went over to my lathe and I made these rings, and they're 5/8 on the inside diameter and 1 inch on the outside diameter. And I mean, I made sure they're exactly right. They might be off by 2 thousandths of an inch, and the concentricity is probably off by 1 or 2 thousandths of an inch. But I mean, they're really darn good. I put the best one. I made 4 of them. I put the best one on, and the thing is smooth, no vibration at all. So I'm happy with it. So
I think I have a 12-inch with a 5/8 arbor.
I don't need any more.
Well, looking at that, that's carbide tip. The one
Yeah.
I have is a thin kerf. There may be uses for it. It won't fit on my radial arm saw unless I take the guard off the outside of it. And that makes it kind of scary.
No, I didn't want to take the guard off. I didn't want to put just a 10-inch saw on it.
No.
So here's my 32-inch blade, and a couple of other blades that I had for some stuff. But I've already taken most of my saws and blades and everything over to the journal building. And when I went over there, I realized I already have a DeWalt 705. I've got 2 of them over there already. And I've got a rigid brand saw over there. So, yeah. That's like, do I really need that? I don't know. But it was a fun project to play with for the weekend. And I got to spend some time with my son, and, did some diagnostics and showed him how to do some troubleshooting. And, the problems can't always be that complicated. And, it's worth spending a few dollars and, learning how to do it.
Yep.
So probably Wednesday of last week, I was driving down the road, and I come around a corner, and there's this stuff in the middle of the road. And I thought, what the heck? Everybody's driving around it. I thought, I'm going to go ahead and stop and figure out what is this thing in the middle of the road. And it was a Bosch air compressor. And obviously, there's no name on it, who owns it. So I picked it up, threw it in my van, and that helps traffic get through. And I brought it back to the shop, and when it fell out of somebody's construction truck, handyman truck or whatever, it broke the manifold on it. And so I cut the manifold off, the rest of the manifold. This was reusable. I put this blue aluminum bar manifold onto it. This is the original tank pressure gauge. This is the original regulated pressure gauge. I had to use a new. No, that's a new fitting. It's just a quarter MPT to barb adapter. That's the original fitting down there. This is original pressure blow off valve. Here's a $8 Harbor Freight valve, and then I've got a bunch of these fittings stuff. And I bought a new hose and a new air blow off. But I'm currently doing a test. I set it at 100 psi on Monday, and I'm trying to see how long it takes to bleed out to what kind of leaking it has throughout the entire system. And 4 days later, well, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 days later, it's only down to 75 psi. So I did a decent job putting it all together. So found on road dead, Bosch air compressor, and now $20 worth of parts later, fix it up and it's good to go. So,
Those toys.
my dad was having problems with his tire, and he tried to blow up his tire, like inflate his tire, and he couldn't get it to inflate. So he basically took this, threw it in the back of his truck, and said, "Ray, do you want this old air compressor?" Yeah, sure, I'll use it for parts, whatever. And so he brought it over to my shop, and my employee stripped it apart, completely tore it apart. I was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Well, it's bad, isn't it?" Like, a question, isn't it bad? But you didn't even test it yet. So I put it back together and checked the pieces as I was putting it back together, and it has held 100 psi for almost 2 weeks. So I think that one was together pretty good. And that is an old Central Pneumatic Harbor Freight, smaller version. And so I fixed that. So there's my projects for the week. If we're talking about automation and whatever, but we can definitely see the size difference on the two air compressors. So the Bosch is a 150 psi air compressor, 6 gallons tank, 2.6 CFM. The Central Pneumatic is half the size. It's 3 gallons, and it's only a 100 psi max. I don't know why they've got a 180 psi gauge on it. That's just crazy. If it's a 100 psi max.
It's standard gauge, and it's hard to get gauges now.
So I just put this back together the way it came. I didn't want to try to add any extra parts to it. I thought it was just funny that my employee, he's like, "Isn't it bad?" And he took it all apart. No, we don't know that it's bad. So funny.
So I was just out of question, since I never thought about it. You guys probably are the people to ask. Anybody know a place to get a good low pressure gauge?
Are
For
you talking
like,
How
about like
low?
0 to 30 psi?
well, for like calibrating torpedo heaters, you need like 6 psi or something, or
Mm,
5.5. I can't seem to find anything that low anywhere anymore.
I used to work for a company that we did pressure testing, leak testing. It was a company down in Cincinnati. It was called Cincinnati Test, and they were always getting really low pressure gauges and stuff like that. Um, I think we were using. I can't even remember the name of the company. It's like Gem City Controls, Gem Air, something like that. GEM. Um, and they were from there's all these different kind of products from, it's all control systems engineering type, um, solenoid valves and gauges and all kinds of stuff. So yeah.
Well, Ray, I have a question. How did the second drawer from the bottom of my toolbox, how did the contents in that drawer get into your drawer?
Oh, here's my rebuild pipe wrenches, uh, air fittings. You guys have seen all this stuff before. Gauges. I have a few files. There's my sockets and ratchets.
Yeah. Well, I just thought it was funny that your collection looks almost identical to mine.
And so this is where I'll go to a garage sale and I'll find an old pipe wrench and I just bring it back here. I go over to the sandblaster and I just strip it down to nothing, and then I'll hang it up on um a wire, spray paint it, and I'm good to go. Here's my little bitty pipe wrench.
I've got one exactly like that, wooden handle and everything.
I think my family now knows that I don't mind uh old tools because I'm just gonna rehab them. And here's my other toolbox. Here's my other sockets. And my other wrenches. Some stuff. More. Oh, yeah, there's a difference.
Are
So have you
those
seen these
even open
before?
yet?
What's that?
I was like, are those even open yet?
Nope.
No.
Nope. Not even open yet. Sorry. These are pretty cool though. These are the through sockets where you can do like a 5-inch threaded rod or whatever, 15-inch threaded rod, and the rod goes all the way through the socket.
Yeah, that is convenient.
No, all of these have been opened and been used. Okay. It's just that this particular toolbox is mine. I don't let anybody else get into it. So therefore, you know, it's normal that all of my sockets and stuff are on the strip. Um, but it's like all of these are 10 millimeter. These are different kinds of 10 millimeter.
That's where my socket went.
Yeah. Well, here's another set of 10 millimeter in case I lose all the ones from the first set. Um, but, eh. So my kids, we used to joke that they would tell me, Dad, you don't need any more tools. You don't need more tools. And then Carol was doing our taxes, and she got information from our accountant, and she's like, "Yeah, you should buy some more tools to change your taxes." And so the advice that she got was buy more tools. And then she was like, "Ray, you can buy more tools now." So that's a pretty neat tool, also for stripping stuff away, surface conditioning. Um, that'll strip away some rust or paint or whatever, skin in a hurry.
I don't think I need a tool for doing that. I have several.
There's the big air compressor. It's not really all that big, but it's It's the most powerful one I have. And then here's the upright Ingersoll Rand. It's biggish, sort of. If you're going to do a sandblaster, you see how the yellow tank underneath the sandblaster?
Yeah.
That is basically it's localized air pressure so that you don't have to put your air pressure through a long hose from the other air compressor. And it changed my world when it came to actually using the sandblaster. It is just amazing how it works and what it does for you. It when I first got this sandblaster, it was not functioning right, and I did not understand why it wouldn't work. And the reason was because I couldn't get proper airflow, cubic feet per minute, out of any of the hoses. So even if the hose was only 25 feet, originally I was using a hose that was like 100 feet long, and I just didn't realize that the length of hose was so important. So now I'm able to use this little tank, 5 gallon tank right under the sandblaster, and it changes everything. What the how functional the sandblaster is. It's pretty amazing.
Parasitic drag is a real thing.
Yeah, yeah, it's a drag. So
Ray, you're really not using sand. You're using abrasive blasting material, but I doubt that you're doing silica sand anymore.
we started off with silica sand. We had some walnut shells, and we have changed over to black oxide because it is like really aggressive. And the reason I went to that black oxide was because I didn't know what was causing the actual problem. Um, Here you can kind of see down in there, it's a mix between uh, silica sand and black oxide. We're just kind of feeding it in and using whatever. But we're not mixing our walnut shells with. So the bucket right there is walnut shell, and the black is black oxide, aluminum oxide. So yeah, the tools that aren't opened up yet. These are the overstock. Yeah, up over there. Um,
Harbor
oh,
Freight really appreciates you, don't they?
they do. Bob is
Wait, what's that
the.
East Wing doing in there?
All right. You like my East Wing? This was, I think, $2 at a garage sale. But when I got it, it was an inch coated everywhere. Somebody used it as a stir stick in drywall compound, and it was just coated. They knew it was a hammer, but that's all they knew. I mean, it was coated with drywall compound. I bought it sight unseen because I didn't. Nobody could see it, and I came here. I dropped it into a bucket of water. I forgot about it for 2 weeks, and I came back and it was all squishy. And I just rinsed it off, got most of it off, and I took it over to the buffing wheel and I cleaned off the east wing part, and I dried it off, and there she sits. But I've done that to a few hammers. I'll buy a hammer and put a new handle on it or whatever, and then I take it over to the buffing wheel and I get the crud off of the hammer. But yes, I do spend a lot of time talking with Harbor Freight, and I go visit them from time to time. And I do a once a year purchase, or I had been doing once a year purchase with them, and it was good. But I just don't need any more tools.
Well, I have a little story to tell you. You might appreciate this. Several years ago, people in the neighborhood were taking out a deck. They'd thrown it into the dumpster. Well, the boards were in pretty good shape, but they had the 4-inch long twisty nails that they had not bothered to remove. So I'm in the dumpster with a pry bar and a uh, block so I can pull them out. And I got this 4-foot crowbar and I'm pulling on it, pulling out the 4-inch deck nails. And they're groaning and complaining, and just all I can do to get them out. And I look up, and Julie comes riding up with her pink bicycle helmet on her bike, carrying this tack hammer, and says, "Can I pull those out for you?" It's like this little hammer wouldn't have pulled anything out, but it's like, no, babe, the best you can do is just stack the wood that I pulled the nails out of.
I had a customer that I was visiting, and they were perfectly good with teaching their son how to take out nails and how to set nails, how to actually nail them in. So they had given him a small hammer, several nails, and some blocks of styrofoam, so that this little kid could feel accomplished in actually putting in styrofoam, putting in nails into the styrofoam. I thought that was really neat. It was a good way for a parent to teach their kids about, you know, how to hold the nail, not pound on their fingers and stuff like that. So, yeah.
I have very fond memories around 4 or 5 years old. My dad built the house I grew up in from 5 years on, and I got to hammer lots and lots of nails into that house. They'd snap a chalk line, put a nail every foot, my foot, the length of my foot along the chalk line. And yeah, it'd take like 40 minutes to do that. And they'd have laid down 7 more sheets of plywood. They'd come back and snap another line.
Now, I was at Monroe City Schools meeting last night, and they're talking about like, oh, there's no interest in, because they're talking about building a new school. And I was like, well, you've talked about all this stuff in the science room and a biology room and math and all this stuff. I haven't seen anything as far as like entrepreneurship or STEM, a true, hey, here you're going to have robotics, engineering. But I'm really interested. Where's your wood shop? There's no auto shop. And they're like, well, there's just no interest. Students don't really want to do that. They feel like it's boring. Like, yeah, right up until they're 16 or, later in life, they need that information, how to fix their car. So they were trying to tell me to hush.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where I I hesitate to say this, but people say, what use is calculus? And I'm thinking, well, it's as useful as doing things and being able to do things with your hands. I can't go through a day without using mentally advanced mathematics, but neither can I go through a day without thinking about using hand tools. Like, I, it just doesn't make any sense that that's not part of the educational curriculum.
My daughter came to me one day and she says, I need 5 minutes or 22 minutes worth of gas. I was like, 22 minutes worth of gas. How did you come out to this? And she explained to me where she was going, how long it normally takes her to get there, how far it is, and how she came out that it's this many minutes of gas. I was like, huh, okay.
And you
And another
conversion.
days go by that you didn't need to use calculus or algebra. Like, good kid. Oh, I was like, you do realize that was all algebra, right? She's like, what? What are you talking about, Dad? uh,
my daughter, I made certain growing up that she knew how to do woodworking, use power tools, hand tools. And so she never hesitated to take on projects. When she was in high school, she had her own truck and was capable of going in and changing the brakes on it. And what that effectively did was intimidated the teenage boys in high school so much that she didn't date much because they were afraid to be embarrassed.
After this meeting for the city, the principal came over to talk to me. I was like, well, that's pretty cool for him to come say hi. And I told him, I said, you think that automotive class is not very important, and you probably think that girls don't go do this, but my girls, you know how intelligent they are, and I would not let them go anywhere, drive their car by themselves until they were able to change all of their tires, all four tires on their vehicle in less than an hour. And he was like, "Wow, Ray, that's really great of you to teach your kids like that." But I
This
was like,
is
"Yeah, I understand. I'm not a normal person, and
NASCAR.
I don't want my kids to grow up as normal kids. I want them to be exceptional." So, yeah. Sorry, you guys hear me over here? I'm sorting screws.
We were talking about portable drives earlier. My stack. Those are all 2 terabytes. And all encrypted.
So what brand are they?
Um, well, this is a Toshiba Cavio. I've got 2 or 3 of those. And these are all, I thought it was pronounced LaCie, Lacie, with the L and the C capitalized, but I don't know. It looks French to me, so it might be La Chow or something. But they're they're decent. I mean, these have been in production this style for quite a while. It's an aluminum case with a real thick uh, silicon frame around it, and I have dropped them without damaging them. I don't recommend it, but meh. They're also
Uh,
about 30% more than anybody else's drives. So there's that. I've actually never opened one of these, which for me is pretty strange. Huh. It's screwed together, so if you need to replace drives, you can. And they're just listed as a rugged drive. They are spinning drives. I I got these from somebody that was getting rid of all of their spinning drives, and I got them really cheap. And honestly, some of these are 4 years old, 5 years old, maybe. And they still spin fine. I've got drives that are 10 years old that are still working perfectly. I have no issues with spinners. This Cavio is probably about that old, maybe older. Oh, it's a 500 gig, not as big as I was thinking. And it is 12 years old.
So they've been in service that long, or they've just that's the shelf life?
Um, Shelf life is pretty much until the electronics evaporate. I have drives that have been spinning 10 years. Actually, pretty many. There was a time when Seagates all had 5-year warranties, and they all lasted 5 years at least. Um, and Western Digital's used to be really solid. Now they're engineered so well they probably know the day it's going to fail before it ships.
I was looking at my little portable Western Digital drive here, and I don't see a date on it, but I'm thinking I've had this one probably 10 years.
You can plug it in and get the serial number off of the drive and enter it as a warranty repair in Western Digital's website, and they'll tell you, nope, sorry, it's out of warranty because it shipped in February of 2014 or something.
Okay, the back of the case has a serial number, so I don't have to do anything other than read it off of the back.
I'm
But
gonna say that Western Digital has a tool. It'll come up and tell you when it was manufactured, when it was shipped, and who bought it, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
You tell me the serial number, I'll tell you what I find.
are you ready? Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. WX62DB118F looks like an OD.
Nope. Let's try 0D.
Okay.
Um, it says the warranty expired in 2025, so I'm guessing you got that in 2020.
Okay. Well, it's a lot younger than I anticipated then.
Yeah, 4 terabyte Passport Black. Um, though it used to say, it used to give more information. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. Warranty expired 7 months ago.
Thank you very much.
It's weird though. It doesn't tell you how long the warranty was. I was guessing the 5 years, but I don't know. Sorry.
Well, that was what those were in the backpack blacks, and I've got one too. They
So
were like,
5 year.
yeah, that's the
Nice.
reason why I bought them, because Seagates were only two or three.
Yeah. The Cavios were 5 years also.
Now the
I th-
Seagates are only one.
Ooh, that's rough.
Yeah, you got to watch it too, because it says three, but it's only three for Asia.
I used to really appreciate Seagate drives. I built a lot of systems for a lot of people that were loaded up with their what the Seagate um oh, enterprise drives.
Cheetahs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've never really had issues with Seagates much, but their warranty has definitely dropped off a lot lately. This is kind of what takes me off too, is the solid states, or the NVMEs and stuff, were jumped up to 10 years, and now they're back down to like 3 or 5. Like Crucial, I think it's only 3 year. At Samsung several years ago, they were 10 year. Now they're back down to 5.
Hmm. Yeah, I had some Western Digitals that were 10 year.
Well, strangely, all 4 hard drives that I have here are Hitachi. I don't know what's in the various machines laying around the house.
Hitachi's the best of the best since the tsunami.
Well, this one came out of my brother's machine, and I suspect, whether you can see that or not, I've written in a magic marker bad. I don't know why I've still got it.
Because you haven't had a chance to take the magnets out yet.
Or to make sure it's bad.
If you're tearing apart old hard drives, is there any value in them?
Depends on whose data's on it.
As I say,
Not that way.
Oh,
well, as I say, it depends on how much money you put into the neodymium magnets, or the little piece of copper core
How
coil.
many bitcoins are there?
No, that was not my question. But thanks anyway.
The casing's high grade aluminum.
Magnesium, titanium.
It's worth a couple hundred pop cans.
In raw materials, is it worth $2 per hard drive?
Nowadays, it might be close to that. I don't know what the scrap of aluminum is nowadays, but it's a Class A aluminum.
Okay.
But the neodymium magnets will get you $2 probably.
Okay.
I doubt most of the platters anymore are much. Um, there were some that were gold plated, but anymore I think it's some kind of um, I don't even know what the coatings nowadays. But you find those old drives that were like 5 1/4s and stuff like that, where usually the platters were coated in either gold, silver, or copper.
These were manufactured nearly 19 years ago. And I pulled them out of the machines for some reason, but I don't know why. I suspect that they were just because they're small.
Well, if it's that old, I could see why it's gone bad. Probably needs a few caps.
Oh, the one that was bad, the bad label covered up the original manufacturer label, so I don't know when it was made. The three that I have in my hand, uh, 2007, 2008, and 2010, and they're 500, two 500s and a 320. So I think I probably pulled them out simply because they were small.
As of a year ago, I still had some 312 megabyte, 2.5 inch IDE drives that were doing fine. Not much point in even checking them at this time, but for a while they were okay.
I say
And those are, pardon?
I've got a small stack on my bookcase. I don't know what's on them, but I don't know if they still work either.
You want to find out, I've got a USB to mini IDE adapter. It's
I
only
say,
USB 2, but that's good enough.
yeah, I think I got what's that old standard laptop adapter for it too. Last week or before I started messing with that server or my ESXi or whatever, I was trying to find all my drives to put the rest of the movies back on this new MB box or whatever jellyfin, but a stack of drives I grabbed were actually IGA or IDE in the
Ooh,
pile at the bottom 5 or whatever. I was like, wow, didn't even realize.
Hey, Ray, before we get off the phone here, or before you get off the phone, what time Saturday?
I'll be there all day.
Okay.
All day, man.
I'll try to be down there in the morning.
Okay.
What are we plotting?
Oh,
Raid raise?
Mike borrowed some stuff from me. He's gonna bring it back.
Oh,
And I have some stuff that I desperately need to get out of the garage.
You guys need light bulbs?
Say again? No,
You need
no,
light bulbs?
no.
I have light bulbs. I have a lot of light bulbs.
I was gonna say they last for more than a week or two.
These I bought at Goodwill up in Chicago, and I guess somebody donated them to them as they were going out of business. And I mean, I was buying here. This is a 4-pack of 75-watt LED, 10-watt LED, 75-watt equivalent, and I paid $1.
Are they warm light or white?
2700, so they're a little yellow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, very.
and I got some
I
globes.
needed too much.
And
3,000, I like 3,000.
I like the ones that are a little bit more white. I don't like the ones that are blue.
Yeah,
But I
but
don't like yellow.
too
Yellow's
white looks like a moon shape. Too white. I don't like the colors.
If I
I don't
could
like that.
have, I would have bought 3 times as many as I bought. I should have bought a whole bunch of par 30s. I should have bought more par 20s. I should have bought everything I could afford. And
Nice.
just I should have.
How long have you been sitting on all of those light bulbs?
6 months, 7 months.
No, that's not too bad.
No. So over at the Journal building, I installed a bunch of track lighting, and rather than putting in par 30s, because right now they've got LED par 30s, and they're more of a spotlight, local location kind of light. And if I were to use this, the tip of the light bulb actually extends past the can a little bit, and it spreads the light out more diverse, so the light goes everywhere. And that's really what I would prefer to have. I don't want concentrated light in these little spots here and there, and then it's kind of dark in other places around the room. So I'm going to try this. If I don't like it, I'll do something else. But this is a really, really good price for, a 4-pack for 99 cents.
Yeah.
And I've got some others that are lower wattage. They're like equivalent 60 watts. Stuff like that. But yeah, I think I got another case of them up here somewhere.
Have you got
Yeah.
any of the candelabra base ones?
Talk about like this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a whole bunch of those. You want some? I'll give them to you
Yes.
free.
No, I'll buy them.
Free. Oh, okay. Let me see how much they cost me. They were, a quarter each. You can have a box. Yeah. You can have as many as you want, man. You come get them, or I'll bring them to you next time. How many do you want? I think I have a few.
I've
That's like
got
3 or
two,
4 cases.
I've got
Let's see.
5 ceiling fans that I really want to all have matched bulbs. So
618 times 3. I got 18
many.
times 3. Yeah, 52 bulbs. How many you need? I'll give you some
Uh,
spares.
16.
Okay. Got a whole bunch of there, and some more up there, and yeah. Oh, those are desk lamps. I ought to give those away for Christmas. You guys need those. You do. You need those. Yeah. But
Okay,
whenever
what's the
we,
Dremel thing?
So,
oh, that is your next birthday gift. You need that. I should just give that to you for free. Since it caught your eye, you need that. I'm
I
gonna
was
give
just
that to
gonna
you.
ask, is that a CNC Dremel?
No, it's a 3D printer Dremel.
I didn't know they made one.
Yep,
Yeah, they tried.
they tried. They tried. Oh Lord. No, whenever we install a new light fixture in the building, we always buy one spare. And in some cases, like I had these Utilitech security lights, and um they're originally they were fluorescent, and we installed them in like 10 different locations around the different buildings, and they lasted for a long time. Then when they went bad, we bought daylight motion sensors, so up there in the other box, and I gutted out these housings, and we turned them into LED, and they work great. um, so they're straight 120 goes to the motion sensor, and then the motion sensor goes to the LED light. So it's the same housing, but it gets ends up getting rebuilt. So yeah, I end up rebuilding a lot of these lights. Even our 2 foot by 4 foot lights, they get rebuilt with the LED tubes.
Yeah.
And I threaten my employees that if you don't come to work on time, I will use a time clock. They know it's here. But you never know. How many lights do you need? I'll stick them in my truck. That way,
16.
16. So okay, there you go. That will cost you $6. I'll put it in
Okay.
your tab, or I'll take it off of what I owe you. How's that?
I don't think you
So-
owe me anything, but it's after 7
yeah.
and I got somebody yelling it's dinner time and I got to get.
All right.
See you in person next week.
Yep. It's 5:45 at midpoint.
Yep.
So we're starting to 45 minutes late.
Sounds like a plan. Later, everybody.
Good night.
All right.